Good morning. The sun is shining and it's a Monday morning. It can only be that time again. Session 4 of chemo is about to begin. Well, when we get there. So far, so good. I've got to stop saying that apparently because you know, a lot of other people have a really tough time. I may well have a tough time after this one. I've got 3 more to go, but I'm halfway through my chemo sessions, and I will talk about side effects. I don't. Maybe I'll talk about side effects now, just because it's worth knowing that there are side effects. So I might be all chirpy, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, you look so well," and I think I look great actually. I mean, you can actually tell the hair's going, but I'm not bald yet. I feel like I haven't lost enough hair to shave yet. I'm not at that particular stage, I don't think. So, you know, that might happen after this 4th session. I don't know. It might not happen at all. They said it would. So, but at the moment, I can cope with a slight, you know, a slight aging man look. It's not a problem. But so let's think then, what side effects have I had so far? I think the most common side effects for me have been fatigue, which is, I think, something everyone will have. But I don't feel that bad, that fatigued. Like I can still walk around the block. I find that after I've had my pump removed on the Wednesday, and even after the chemo session on the Monday, I find that whole first week, Monday to Sunday, difficult to do huge walks. So I can walk around my block in my neighbourhood, which is, I'm not sure how far that is, but it's not that far, just less than a mile probably. And I can do that, but I do it at the speed of, I used to be, in the story The Hare and the Tortoise, I used to be the hare. I am now the tortoise. So I walk around the block and I start, because my mind's fine, I start off, you know, storming round, and then I get out of breath and realise that I'm, actually getting quite slow, and then I feel like a battery that's coming to the end of its life, and I'm like, go slow down, and I realised I probably should go home and get some rest. So there we go. That's what happens in the first week. But in the second week, I feel I could do anything really, but that's the problem. So in the second week, again, because my mind's all there, I feel I can do anything I want, and that there's nothing wrong with me. And so I start, you know, getting together with people and going for long walks and putting gazebos up in my garden, and then things can go wrong from that. So I've spent a day with my father, even while I still had the pump in actually, so that was even on chemo week, putting a gazebo up and moving my bench in the garden, getting ready for my birthday that I had last week, and I felt fine doing it. So it's not, you know, it's not my dad's fault, it's not my fault in particular. I mean, it is my fault because I should know better, but I felt fine, so I did the lifting. And then when I went in for there's this other video I'm going to post, but I then went in to just get my dressing changed on the pig line, and it was really swollen, and all of a sudden all this serious stuff was mentioned, blood clots and sepsis, which freaked us all out really. And I then spent 27 hours in hospital doing all these tests and making sure I was okay, because, you know, with this big red swollen arm, and it turns out it's because I put up the gazebo and I moved the bench, and it was really straightforward. But they were brilliant. They were just on it, the NHS, because, you know, that's very serious. Could have potentially been very, very serious. So there we go. So it just turns out that I was working too hard, and so you've got to be careful with that. Okay, so fatigue, that was the first one. Second one, so this is how I explain it. Other people might explain it differently. I feel that that when I'm certainly having the chemo on Monday, and then certainly after the pump is removed on the Wednesday, my mouth feels just a bit sore. So a bit like if you've burnt yourself with a cup of tea or a hot soup or something, and you burnt yourself, and then the next day you've got that really furry feeling on your tongue. You're like, I can feel when I have drinks, and it's not pleasant. But it doesn't hurt, it just feels weird. Well, I have seemed to feel like that on my tongue, the roof of my mouth, in my cheeks, down my esophagus, and probably in my stomach too, although I feel it less in my stomach because it's on the inside. But it just means like I can't drink really hot drinks or really cold drinks. Also something like a packet of salted vinegar crisps that I really like, or quite crunchy crisps, they will feel like they're cutting me up a bit more. And I also really love drinking ginger, lemon and honey, but I find the lemon is quite acidic in my mouth on those particular days, and stuff like fresh orange juice, I find that quite acidic in my mouth, and it just stings a bit more is all. So that's, and things like taking tablets, I could feel them going down on those days, whereas I wouldn't be able to feel them on week 2. Okay, so that's that one. 3, well, one of the chemos I have on Monday is called oxaliplatin, and that one, I think it's that one that makes me feel, so you feel the cold, but in a completely different way than I've ever felt the cold in my life before. So you cannot drink freezing cold drinks or anything from the fridge. It has to be lukewarm and above, really. I would say even above lukewarm, because otherwise you get this brain freeze feeling. You can't run your hands under cold water. Now we're getting to the autumnal winter season. The breathing in cold air will hurt a bit, and it's not funny, I guess, but I found it funny. But then I've got a really sick sense of humour. So I was walking around with David one day. This might have been on our first session or maybe second session, and I was just walking around the block, and it was quite cold, and my eyelids started going numb, and my mouth, which has never happened to me in my life before, and I went, "Oh, David, I'm either having a stroke or I think I'm getting rather cold." And it was I could barely talk, and my eyelids were gone and my mouth had gone, and it was actually to do with the fact that I was just freezing cold. I mean, I wasn't freezing cold, but my body obviously was cold, and I had to go and warm it up. But I found that quite amusing, even though clearly it would not have been amusing had I been having a stroke. And I think it's worth noting, because you could feel something like that and get very panicky and think it's really serious, when actually it's just the side effect of one of the drugs. What other side effect? Now, some people have diarrhea. I've had mainly constipation, although I must admit, even though you shouldn't do this, so word of warning at home, don't do this if you can, but I had a birthday, so I decided to have mini bottles of Prosecco to limit myself, and I had 2 mini bottles of Prosecco, which is probably too much for when you're on chemo. And I had 2 days then of diarrhea afterwards, which was not good. I know that's a bit too much information, but you need to know these things if you're going through it. If you're not going through it, you probably don't need to know this. So what other side effects have I had? Just under the arm, where the PIC line is in situ, just under the skin is like a clip, and it clips to the top so that they stay in place. But I'm finding that now it's getting a bit worn, and it just hurts a bit. So, and if you catch it, you know, so that's annoying. I think the more I'm actually lucky with my arm, I think, because I've seen other people's arms and they're having a worse time of it. They may have had more sessions, I don't know, but I think every time they take because they pin the PICC line to your arm and they put a dressing on, and I think the plastic, there's this sort of triangular plastic part of the PICC line, I don't know how to explain it, but that gets pinned to your skin when they put the dressing on, and I just think that keeps getting worn into the skin a bit, so you can get slight cuts. They're not really cuts per se, but it's just where they've been digging in, you know, and because your skin on chemo, or your whole body is just not working the way it should do, it doesn't always heal up brilliantly. However, I might say from my experience, and this could be different for everyone else, when in my first week of chemo, yeah, my body's like a chemo body and it's not healing up brilliantly, but in my second week, you know, so the first week my hair can fall out a bit, you know, I can bruise easier, I'm more likely to get ulcers once I've eaten something that's sharp or acidic. But the second week, you know, my hair is not falling out as much, my bruises go, and my skin starts healing up. So it shows that, I mean, your body's incredible, but it just shows that my body in particular is healing at in the second week a bit, so that's brilliant. I can't think of any side effects for now, but I just wanted to show you that just about to start 4th session of chemo, and I don't look half that bad at the moment. I mean, I was never a beauty queen of the world, so that's fine. We get that, but as in terms of looking worse than my first videos, I don't think I'm looking that bad. I'm not looking particularly pale and withdrawn. I probably put on a bit of weight, but then I'm actually trying to do that because I don't know if there's going to be times in the future where I can't. I'm eating well, my tastes haven't gone, so that's great. My appetite hasn't changed at the moment, which is great. Can't think of anything else at the moment, so if I think of anything, I will let you know. I will post a video of me being in hospital and going through all of that, the checks with the sepsis and the potential sepsis and blood clot, but I don't end that with saying I'm okay. So I'm telling you I'm okay now before I put that video up. Okay, anyway, have a lovely day. Don't forget to smile and be nice to people. Bye. Say bye, David.
Bye, David.